topic for today is key elements for a successful career path. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Mananseh for really helping us organizing this, and especially connecting us to my hometown with Professor Jamil Saab, with Professor Dr. Rashid Saab. It's a great pleasure that I am starting this session for educating the futures with our hometown and University of Malakand. I have really strong ties. I have lots of family members living, working, and educating there. So it's a great pleasure to be here talking on this forum and starting this kind of presentation. So feel free to interrupt me at any time if you guys have any questions, but we can leave questions towards the end after that. So without ado, I will start by looking into what is a career path. When it comes to a successful career path, I think two things are extremely important, and that would be kind of my main message I would be communicating with this presentation. One is the destination where we want to arrive. The second one is path to follow. How do we arrive to that particular destination? Some people, they don't know where they are going, so they have multiple paths to arrive to a destination or different destination because they don't know what their destination is. Other people, they know their destination, but they don't know what is the shortest path and how to achieve and arrive towards that successful path. So both things are extremely important, and that would be my main message from today's talk when I'm talking about all the key elements and how I kind of create all the success stories around this presentation. So just to give a background to myself, I'm associate professor at the University of Alberta. I'm also faculty associate at the Nasri School of Building Science and Engineering, again at the University of Alberta. I'm currently leading two labs. One is Lambda Lab and the second one is Olfactory. I won't go into the details about that, but I'll talk a little bit about some impactful projects which we are doing. Dr. Mananseh have already introduced me through my journey, so I won't go into further details on where I come from. But where I am currently sitting, it's Edmonton. It is in the end of the world. It's in the middle of nowhere. If you look into it, it usually take me 24 hours with connecting flights if I'm lucky enough to arrive from Pakistan. So it's quite far. It's towards the inside of the world, and it is really one of the coldest places on earth, but you will see why it is important to live and talk about these kind of successful careers here as well. Luxembourg, it's situated in, Edmonton is situated in Alberta. Alberta is one of the natural places on earth where you can just drive for 1 hour. You can see all these natural beauty, all these elks around, or all these natural environment, mountains, water, or any other species which you can even imagine in other places of the world. It's one of the places which I'm always present as one of the wild places, and if you want to go wild, do visit us in Edmonton, and that's where you can experience -40, -45-degree temperatures. So it's one of the extreme environment where there are lots of challenges, and how do you tackle those challenges to create successful careers on this planet. You can also see that we have extremely good beauty around us. Lake Louise is around 3.5 hours from Edmonton. This was a picture I took in 2017, but believe me, last week I was there, and it is exactly the same without snow, although at this time, but it is extremely beautiful area of the world. University of Alberta is always ranked at among the top 5 in Canadian universities, and it is one of the biggest university in Alberta. We have around 40,000 students, so it's one of the big universities, have lots of different types of programs and initiatives around. We are also ranked among the top 100 in the world, so it's one of the best universities to work and do education work here as well. So I'll talk a little bit about my personal team. In my team, I call it Limda team. We are around 25 researchers. I'm the professor. I have around 4 postdocs, 1 research associate, lab engineer working with me. I have around 7 PhD students, 9 MSc students currently working with me, and some undergrad and MH students as well. We have graduated around 40-something students, MSc and PhDs, Four of my PhDs and postdocs, they are currently professors at different universities. So you can see and imagine the impact of what we are creating across the world. So these are some of the pictures you can see from the lab and what kind of equipment and systems we are using. I won't go into details on that lab, but I'll talk about some impactful project towards the end of the presentation. My second hat, which I'm wearing today, is the ProBees Digital Education Society, which is a registered Canadian not-for-profit society. Here, our focus is on three things. One is education, one is scholarships, and the third one is networking. ProBees actually stands for Professionals Bridging Education, Engineering, sciences into the society. So that's kind of our general goal. I'll talk about the vision a bit later. I'm very happy that Dr. Malakand is working with us on this platform, and his capabilities on the network side is extremely important. Then I think someone is writing on the whiteboard, so please, you can delete those. Are you able to see the screen properly?
Yeah, yes, we can see someone has a circle on it. Maybe is it?
Yeah, there is probably a eraser somewhere which we can actually erase it from. If you guys don't know how to do that, oh yeah, it's done. So
Okay.
Should be good now. Thanks to Dr. Malakand, who's actually helping us with this society. I also have other students who's working on this society with us as well. But we welcome more people to work with us on this platform. So our vision is basically to create a professional network here in Canada. And that professional network will help us to kind of create a digital platform, and then we will provide those kind of equity in education between the developed and developing countries. So particularly, we will target Canada as our primary network area, and then we will actually bridge that with Pakistan. And we are starting that today from University of Malakand. Our goal is really the equity in education, so that whatever facilities and systems do I have available here at the University of Alberta, people in Pakistan should have the same kind of equity in education available as well. That's kind of the general goal of our ProBees society. On the education side, we want to create some workshops, seminars, trainings, and courses. Hopefully, we will be working slowly and gradually to promote that kind of education, but also we will create some scholarship. One of the program which we are planning is called Wali's program, that is for women of color in leading innovation in sciences and engineering. And then also we will create a network, and this is kind of one of the goals of that network that today we are presenting here. In general, like there are two main pillars of that society. One is giving back to the society, and the second one is equity in education. And we will be looking into scholarship networks, workshop courses, trainings, and mentorships. That's kind of the general idea of the ProBees society. Now, I want to come back to the topic of today, which is really the big questions I would like to ask today and answer today is, what is success? And then also kind of talk and probably give you a different perspective of the success, which is in my mind a different types of success which you will be looking into. Then we will talk a little bit about who are successful people, and then what are the proper tools which we need to create a successful career. So what are those proper tools and how we can actually implement that to make a successful career. So the very first thing I would like to ask you guys is that who are successful people? Can anybody tell me any names? Maybe if you guys don't want to talk about it, just write their names in the chat. So I can see that. What do you guys think? Who are successful people?
Please unmute all students to have to unmute the.
Either you unmute or you can write it in the messages. So just give me an idea of what do you guys think a successful person is, or give me just one name of what you guys think. Students are usually shy, so I'll also throw that question to Dr. Malakand, to you, Dr. Rashid.
No, the success to me is that, you know, as I tell the story, it's about building relationship.
Okay, so So I'll just rephrase my question. So I'm not asking about what is a success. I'm asking who are successful people. So just give me a name of successful person. I'll ask the success question in the next slide.
Yeah, let the student
Yes.
become on. Okay.
Bill Gates is one of them. Thank you. So this Bill Gates is one of them, right? So Bill Gates is one of the very important names. So anybody else can give.
Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google.
Yeah, Elon Musk.
He's a young man and he's in the key position.
Awesome. Elon Musk. Any other names? Just I'm looking for just one third name and then we can go ahead. Okay, Jack Ma, that's good. That's good enough. So now I can kind of see where you guys are going. All of these are great names, and I can just provide few names which are kind of old names, which I have in my list. But this list is never ending. Mark Zuckerberg is another one from Facebook, right? Now my next question is, why do you think these people are successful? What are their key elements? And now what I want from you guys is something different. I am going to send you a poll, and I want you guys to kind of just click one of these options. So everybody should see that on the screen, and probably just click one option. Do you think these people are famous? That's why they are successful? These people has money, impact, purpose, or power? So just in the next 30 seconds, I wanna go ahead. To my surprise, I was not expecting this result, to be honest. Are you guys able to see the screen, the full results or not? I don't think so, so I am going to share the results with you guys. So I was hoping that I will see mostly fame, I will see mostly money, and I'll see mostly power. But only 1% replied to fame, and none of you guys replied to money and power. So which is kind of the message which I wanted to communicate as well today, but you guys kind of grasped the idea already. As Kesar mentioned, they have a vision to serve the humanity. But when you look into success in general, like from the literature, people will talk about success when it comes to somebody who's popular for any reason. Somebody who is wealthy, who has a lot of money. For example, Mark Zuckerberg, he's wealthy, but he has a purpose as well at the same time. The person who can be powerful, for example, any of the politicians, I could not see any of the political names in the list when you guys were listing, but power is another important one, which people usually think is one of the major part of the successful people. But impact, as you guys mentioned, impact is really one of the important ones. And this is what my main message would be, that whatever we do, whatever success we want to create for ourselves, impact should be one of the key parameters. And above all, which was, I did not mention this in the poll, but satisfaction is one of the important ones. Satisfaction is not measurable in terms of if we are looking into somebody, for example, Warren Buffett, we cannot measure how satisfied he is, or we cannot measure how satisfied he is compared to Steve Jobs. But we can measure satisfaction in terms of our personal life, and I think that should be one of the key thing for our successful life. So now let's start establishing a proper definition for success. So before, I could see from the chat that somebody was mentioning that success is get into the goal is success. For example, whatever your goal is should be success. But you guys will be surprised when you look into a success definition from Oxford Dictionary. It is something else. So the success definition from Oxford Dictionary is the attainment of money, fame, and status. That is what I was kind of establishing in the first part. When you look into that from the list which you see on the left side, the first three is kind of related to success in general when you go to literature. But one of the key elements which you need to ask yourself when you are thinking about measuring your own success is, are you proud of what you're doing? Are you proud of what you're doing in your career? That should be one of the key elements. And that is kind of tying it to most of the things you were mentioning, that you have a vision to serve the humanity, because then that's what creates a more impactful life, and then you are more proud of what you're doing. So another definition which is quite important for success is the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. So you have a purpose. That purpose could be just earning more money, $1 million money. That could also be a purpose, but creating a purpose which makes you happy and you're proud about yourself is what a success should be. And then the most important thing when it comes to success is that it is not just one thing which you need to achieve. It's the purpose, and then you achieve that. It is a two-step journey. One is the purpose, which is the destination as well, I was mentioning earlier. And then how do you achieve that journey towards that destination? And for that, you need a proper plan. How do you want to create that plan is extremely important. So you start with the success. There are many types of models which are available. I was looking into literature for this presentation to kind of see what are people using to create a successful life. You might also see some 7 P's of success, or not for success, but for other things. But P's, 7 P's could be one of the key things, which comes from my personal experience as well. And I kind of tailored some from the literature and created something which will be helpful for your success. So the very first thing, which I think is the most important thing, in Kaisar Khan already mentioned that in the chat as well, is the vision. So you start with a vision. You have a vision for something. For example, in ProBees, we have a vision that we want to create equity in education between developed and developing countries. That is a vision. No matter how far we are able to achieve that vision is not important, but we have a vision and we will be continuing towards that vision. So we start with the vision, and then you need to motivate yourself based on that vision, and you create a passion. Somehow that passion needs to come from within you, so you can create that passion. So that passion creation comes with the vision, and that should be your first P to start with. No matter what you want to do, either creating a successful life as a labor, a researcher, a professor, or you want to get a higher degree. So the passion should be the first thing. The second thing is perspective. Perspective is extremely important. Some people might look into one thing from one angle, another from another angle. I'll talk about success with a story on the next slide. But perspective is important. One of the key elements which I want to show here is that you need to be positive. No matter what happens, either you fail or not, or you are successful, or you think about anything, always be positive. No matter what the society thinks, you should not change your mind of being the positive person anymore. And that's what your perspective should be. So start with a passion and then create a perspective, which is a positive attitude. And then you start planning. For example, you want to get a higher education degree from outside, let's assume Canada. You need to plan for that. You need to start searching universities. You need to look for what is important, which program you're interested in. What would be the best way to approach a professor? What would be the best way to write an email, a CV, or whatever? So start planning, and that plan should be well in advance, so you know exactly what you need to do. When do you need to take an IELTS test? When do you need to apply for admission? When do you need to plan for any other move in your process? The fourth step, extremely important, after which comes after the planning, is performance. Because if you don't perform, nothing will happen. Nobody's gonna do it for you. Believe me, I have heard from many people that just tell me, can you just search some universities for me? I don't have time to do that for you. You need to plan your own career. You need to perform that. I can help you, I can guide you, but you have to do the action yourself. And then it's not only the action, you need to also create an accountability for yourself, that I have to do this in 1 week. I have to do this in that period. And then you need to have kind of measurements to see that how many application I submitted and how many were accepted. If they were not accepted, what was the main reason? Maybe there is some problem with your liking, with your planning. So you go back and start with the fresh planning. So accountability, the measurement of what you're doing is important. And then the fifth one is the persistence. So you can do plan, you can perform, but sometimes you will give up. So you have to start with persistence. So you need to be persistent. If you want to achieve to do a degree from Canada, a higher degree in MSc, you should not compromise on anything. You have to apply. You have to find that opportunity to look for it. And you need to be persistent on that. Maybe you need to improve some of these P's, earlier P's, if you are not successful. So come back to the patient. Maybe the patient is not the one which you are motivated, giving you proper motivation or planning or performance or perspective. Maybe change some of those and go back to the practice and persistence. But you have to be persistent to create something. And believe me, all these successful people you see, they have a really persistent life. And then again, that persistence will give you failures, and you have to be patient. I believe me, if I start talking about my failure, I can do a 1-hour presentation on my failures. I have failed in many places, many opportunities came to my direction, and many opportunities was lost because of one reason or another reason. But then I succeeded in some of the things which I wanted, and it's because I was patient for the right opportunity, for the right time, and for the right things. And then most importantly, in not something you should not forget is that people are the important thing, your network. You need to have people, you need to have role models, you need to have people who can help you achieve that thing. And you need to have trust in some people. You need to create that kind of network for yourself, which can give you the right opportunity. Because a lot of time opportunities are hidden in companies and they might be accessible to a particular network. But you need to find that opportunity. It's not about going to asking somebody about favors. It's about finding the right opportunity for you. And then you can create and tailor your application accordingly. So this is kind of a general 7P of what I think is extremely important for success. And the order of how you approach this 7P is also extremely important. So you should not just jump directly to people or to planning, but you have to follow the exact right information so that you can actually have a successful life. Now let's talk about a perspective. And for perspective, I think this story is extremely important. So I will actually read it as is written so you guys can have a better understanding of it. So the story is called The Law of a Garbage Truck. So it's a book as well. So you guys can look into this book as well if you're interested. But I just took that story from that. So it's one day I hopped into a taxi and took off for the airport. We were driving in the right lane when suddenly a black car jumped out of the park space right in front of us. My taxi driver slammed the brake, skidded, and missed the other car by just inches. The driver of the other car whipped his head around and started yelling at us. My taxi driver my taxi driver just smiled, waved at the guy. I mean, he was really friendly. So I asked, why you just do that? This guy almost ruined your car and sent us to the hospital. This is when my taxi driver taught me what I now call the law of the garbage truck. So he explained, many people are like garbage trucks. They run around full of garbage, full of frustration, full of anger, and full of disappointment. As their garbage piles up, they need a place to dump it, and sometimes they will dump it on you. Never take it personally. Just smile, wave, wish them well, and move on with the routine life. Don't take their garbage and spread it to other people at work, at home, or on the street. The bottom line is that successful people do not let garbage trucks take over their day. Life is too short to wake up in the morning with regrets. So love the people who treat you right and pray for the ones who don't. If you look into this story, it's a very simple story, but believe me, it has changed my life. It has changed my perspective about everything. Every morning I go somewhere and I find a garbage truck. Believe me, I think about them as a garbage truck, and I completely change my perspective, and I pray for them so they can get their treatment. And I try my best to be optimistic. So it should not change your mind by any way. So this is kind of one example of how you can actually change your perspective from a complete negative side to a complete positive side. Now, before you get your first job, as I know most of you guys are students and you guys will be looking into how to secure your first job. So in the next few slides, I'll talk about some practical examples of emails or applications which you can actually do to kind of apply for either first job, but these applications are mostly for higher education, which come to me personally. So I'll talk about those examples, but I think they are not different from any first job you are applying, or any job even we are applying in our career. So so these are some of the steps which are important. So let's talk about some example. And believe me, writing an email, writing in your first application for a particular job is an art. You need to be expert in how to write these. Otherwise, you will not be successful. Believe me, when I wake up every morning, I receive 30, 40 applications, most of them coming from Iran, but some of them from Pakistan as well. But you can literally, from the email, you can guess and see where they are coming from and how their background is. So it's extremely important that we need to learn how to write proper email and messages. For example, if you guys can look into this email, what is wrong with this email? Can anybody just guess what's wrong? Or is there anything wrong with this email? So it's too short. It's too short. I don't have any information about anything. And then if I look into the email, it says that this email has attachment is a cover letter, CV, degree, transcript, and letter of recommendation from three professors. Did I ever ask for these information? No. So it is very important that you write the proper message in your 3 lines email, but also provide information of what is required. For example, the second one, this is also a too small email. It doesn't give me any information about the person, about anything. And I literally have 30 seconds to read a particular email. So you have to be very confident in what you're writing. So emails like this is highly unacceptable. When I see an email like this, which doesn't have any proper anything, I don't even go to the attachments and read anything. On the other hand, I have received emails like these as well, and I received a lot of similar kind of emails. Believe me, I got 30 seconds to read your email. I don't have time to read all this email. The same for all the CEOs, all the company leaders, all the professors across the world. They will have lots of emails coming every day, and believe me, they have no time to read your email. So if you are writing emails like this, nobody is going to reply you. Even if you are sending this to a company, nobody's going to read what you have written within this email. So try to be more focused. I have also received email which has attachments like these, like a lot of information in attachments. Sometimes it's hard for me to even find where the CD is. So if we have not asked for your 3rd semester transcript, you should not provide me that information. The most important thing should be your CV and then a cover letter maximum. If we ask for further information, you can provide those information. Sometimes we receive emails which just says seeking for admission and only attachments, no email. If the person doesn't even have time to write you a few words, proper words, then why should you go to the attachment and read their emails? Then sometimes persistent, I talked about persistence earlier, that it is an important thing, but sometimes that persistent could be annoying depending on who you're applying to. If you are sending the same email, for example, this person sent me an email for admission almost 5 times in just the span of 20 or 10 days, I guess, 10 or 15 days. So if I don't read your email, if I have read your email at the first go and I did not reply to your email, that means I'm not interested. If you send me twice, it's okay. But if you send me 3 times, I will be very cautious to reply. And if it comes more than 4 times, I'm definitely not looking at your email. When we were kids, we were told by our parents that when you go and knock somebody's door, you have to knock once, just wait, knock second, wait, and probably just knock 3rd time, but that's it. You cannot go beyond 3 times. Exactly the same thing. You can apply those kind of techniques into your applications. If you don't receive any response from any company 3 times, then forget about that company. Go to the next company, be patient, be persistent, but with other people. Change your plan to something else, to another university, to another professor, or another company, or another organization where you want to have that successful career. Now, I would like to talk about a successful email as well. For me, this would be one of the best type of emails which you can actually write to for any application, either a company profile or you're looking for a successful application. So if you look into this email, it says through your LinkedIn profile, I came across that availability, that position, which is extremely nice because I need you to know where does this person got my information. So you clearly established that you got this information from somewhere. And now you're introducing yourself with brief 3-4 bullet points. If I'm interested in the CGPA, I'll just look into the first bullet point. If I'm interested in a bachelor degree, I'll look into the second bullet point. If I'm interested in other things, I'll look into the experience in other bullet points, and that's it. And you should have only your CV and cover letter. So this would be the best example of how you can actually apply for any particular application. So this is kind of what we are interested in. But once you get your first job, this should not be the end of your world. Remember, we talked about a successful career. Successful career is not getting higher education in a country like Canada. Successful education is not something which you are getting in one of the top industries in Pakistan, for example. Successful education, again, is one of the important things, and you need to again ask yourself again and again this question when you are in a particular job or a particular position, that are you proud of what you're doing? Believe me, I ask this question from myself every week when I go to work, and every time I try something new in my job, I always ask this question for myself: am I proud of what I'm doing? And if the answer comes to negative, that means you are on a wrong path. So you have to find where you want to go. So believe me, where you are is not the end of the world. You have to find a new goal. You have to constantly updating your goal and improving yourself as you go. And sustainability is the most important thing. Sometimes you actually get to a position and you think that you have achieved what you wanted to achieve in your life, and you don't try to work hard, you will not be able to sustain. I always say this to myself as well. Sitting here at the University of Alberta, I have lots of peers. They are constantly improving. We have a really strong team around us and peers, and I have to constantly work harder for 50 to 60 hours a week to sustain in an environment like this. So this is extremely important, and you have to be constantly learning for that sustainability so you can constantly improve yourself. And then finding a purpose and then innovating that purpose is also important. It's not only one purpose which you should have for the rest of your life. You can improve on your purpose as well as you move on with your life. So it is extremely important. Now, as we establish what a success is, as we establish what we need to do is for your first application and how you can actually improve your purpose. It is also important that what you're doing, you need to find a purpose in that, and you need to find a success in what you're doing. And this is what I do here on a daily basis, that whenever I do a project, I always find what is important, what is the purpose of that project, how I am creating that impact on the society, how am I creating that opportunity for myself that I and people around us are proud of what I am doing. So that is extremely important. And I'll just give you two examples of two projects which we are doing at the university, and you will kind of see what is important. So here at the University of Alberta, my team is really heavily invested in smart system design and development. So we design new machines and systems, for example, 3D printing technologies for different applications. And one of that could be related to plastic recycling. So I'll just show you a 2 to 3 minutes video on this project, and you will kind of see why this project is important, how are we creating an impact around that project, and why we chose to do this project.
Introducing the Eco 3D printer. The material we can't seem to live without but lasts longer than 100 years. The material that swims in the oceans, clogs rivers, fills lands, keeps our trash beds full. Plastic. It is used everywhere, in our cars, food, packaging, homes, hospitals, airplanes, infinite applications. It is calculated that only 3% of the plastic we consume is recycled in a closed loop. This ratio between consumption and disposal is a global issue that is becoming a threat for the environment and requires solutions for efficient reuse and circular economic strategies. On the other hand, 3D printing and additive manufacturing have become a revolutionary solution in many manufacturing applications where rapid creation of complex geometries, cost-effective customization, and higher energy efficiency can be achieved. Still, few solutions have been realized that can incorporate the use of recycled materials into commercial 3D printing systems. So for this exact purpose, we would like to introduce the Eco 3D printer solution, a novel hybrid 3D printer design that will increase plastic manufacturers' profits by reducing waste disposal costs. It will also create opportunities for businesses to reuse their waste and increase their cash flow by creating cheaper, rapidly developed second life products. To incorporate the recycled material into this novel hybrid system, it only requires the recycled material to be shredded prior to use. This helps to avoid the pains of reconverting the recycled material into filament, as direct diffuse deposition can be done selectively in specific zones of the printed part. This smart way to reuse material waste can combine multiple materials at different reprocessing levels, expanding the freedom of design. This system will create new business opportunities for eco-friendly 3D printed products, promoting an efficient solution for the global plastic contamination problem. It will provide circular economy benefits for on-demand manufacturing companies, 3D printing farms, and prototyping services. The Eco 3D printer, the hybrid 3D printing solution for efficient manufacturing of plastic waste products.
So this was one of the project, but we have many different types of projects which are impactful projects on the society or people, and we really create an impact which is everlasting for the environment or also the future generation. One other similar kind of project was the personal protective respirator, which we created when the COVID hit, and we were actually looking around new technology. So we create this technology, which has created a really huge impact on the society as well. And we kind of find that solution within our society and within our team, and we really work harder to create this kind of impact. So once I do a project like this, I don't have to take any holidays from that. And even my team, believe me, for both of these projects, I have seen my student working at 1 a.m. in the morning as well. It's because they have a passion, they have a vision they want to create, they have a purpose in their life, and they want to be successful because this project will have an everlasting impact on our environment and our future generation. So the takeaway message from what we have learned throughout this presentation was that we need to really work hard to identify those 7 Ps, and the right order of those 7 Ps are extremely important. You need to start with passion, perspective, planning, perform, persistence, patience, and people. Then also it is extremely important that you start with those people part and build your network by keeping your LinkedIn updating. It is important that both your CV and LinkedIn should say the same thing about you. For example, if you send me a CV with your application, I read your CV and then I go to your LinkedIn, and if it says different thing, that tells me something about your honesty. So it's extremely important that you both of these says the same thing. Build and sustain your network, find your peers, and improve your skill based on whatever you can have. And especially at University of Malakand, you have lots of opportunities to create different types of skills. For example, in programming, different languages, do good and have good. That's kind of a general of what we want to do. Give back to the society, build on different types of network, work with not-for-profit organization like Probies, and any other organization that can create the everlasting impact on the society. Follow a role model, have a role model and follow that role model, and then also create a career advisor. Look for career advisor and have them in your society, and then be realistic in your dreams. Have a dream which is very hard to follow, which should scare you, but be realistic as well of what you can achieve within your time frame. And towards the end, I would like to end with this small video, so which will kind of summarize what I was talking about. Sorry. And that's all for me today. Thank you, Dr.